The garden was once a place of magic for Rowan and his daughter, Lyra. They spent long summer afternoons chasing butterflies and planting sunflowers that seemed to reach for the very edge of the sky. Rowan's laughter was always the deep, steady ground for Lyra's high, ringing giggles. Together, they made the world feel bright and infinite. But the sunflowers eventually wilted, and the magic vanished when Lyra was gone. Rowan's house, once filled with the happy noise of humming and games, became a place of long shadows and heavy silence. He sat in his armchair for hours, the world outside turning gray and distant, as if he were looking at his life through a window fogged by cold breath. Every memory Rowan held on to brought a fresh wave of sorrow. His heart felt like a rain-soaked cloak that grew heavier with every passing day. He could not stop the tears that fell, quietly at first, then like a torrential downpour that seemed to wash away the very colors of his home. He felt as though he were drowning in a sea of his own grief. One night, exhausted by the weight of his weeping, Rowan fell into a deep, heavy sleep. As he slept, a dream began to unfold, soft and shimmering. He found himself standing on a wide, winding path made of starlight and pale mist. The air was warm and still, smelling faintly of lavender and wild clover. From the heart of the mist, a long procession emerged. Dozens of children walked in a slow, peaceful line along the starlit path. They were dressed in simple robes that caught the light, and each one of them held a tall, golden candle. The candles flickered with steady, brilliant flames that pushed back the shadows of the dream. Rowan stood by the side of the path, his breath catching in his throat. He watched the children pass, their faces glowing with a quiet joy. He searched every face, his heart racing with a hope he hadn't dared to feel in months. He was looking for the one person who could make his world whole again. Then, at the very end of the line, he saw her. Lyra walked with the same gentle grace she always had, her hair catching the starlight. But while the other children's candles burned bright and strong, Lyra's candle was dark. She held the cold wick close to her chest, looking tired and heavy-hearted as she struggled to keep up. "Lyra," Rowan cried, rushing to her side. "Why is your light out? Why aren't you shining like the others?" Lyra looked up at him, her eyes filled with love. She held the candle out so he could see it. The wick was soaking wet, dripping with clear, salty water. "I try to light it, Papa," she whispered softly, "but your constant tears keep putting it out." Rowan woke with a start as the first rays of dawn touched his face. The dream was so vivid he could still feel the warmth of the starlight. He sat up and wiped his eyes, realizing that his grief, though born of deep love, was a burden that even Lyra had to carry. He understood now that her spirit needed his happiness to stay bright. Rowan walked out into the garden and began to clear the weeds from the base of the sunflowers. When his young neighbor, Leo, peeked over the fence with a curious look, Rowan didn't turn away. He invited the boy over to help him plant new seeds. As they laughed together, Rowan felt a glow in his chest, knowing that by choosing to live with joy, he was finally letting Lyra's light shine.